Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Pitchline Chronicles. I'm Uncle Taz. I'm here with Donald. Rob, unfortunately, had to go to work. So we are absent our third guy. But there is still the other thing that's absent is the common sense on the base paths. Because that was, although there were multiple issues in the game last night, I think that was the standout of everything that went wrong yesterday. At one point, I have to ask this question. Right? At one point, does the base runner? We see all the time. They'll run through the stop sign, right? Because they feel they have a better read of the play. At one point, does the base runner also say, "I can't make it"? So I'm just gonna go station to station, right? And that's exactly that's and of course it had to be Torres. I mean, the poor guy, because he's been playing so well, and there hasn't been much to complain about with him. But when he does make these mistakes, they are huge to the result of the game. And there lies the problem with Gleyber Torres. Right? Not that, he's adjusted to the leadoff spot very well, no complaints whatsoever. Right? I think that he likes it there. He's effective. But it's these base running blunders. And yet, as much as we all want to get on Torres for it, you have to hold Rojas to the same standard on that. I mean, you have to know better. You had a job as a manager of a team. We can see why you don't now. But you did reach that level of your managerial skill. Or lack thereof, really. But nonetheless, he was a manager. He should know better. How would he react if his third base coach threw stop signs, nope, stop, nope, keep going, no, come back. I mean, these guys, and I think that's where Torres has to know better. I can't make the out. I'd rather sit at third and be down a run than make a stupid out. So, Donald, what was your take on that embarrassment of a base running blunder?
Well, I mean, Jacob is right here. Tats, you can't physically stop Gleyber. Rojas gave him the stop sign. What more can you do? Where I do hold Rojas accountable is actually not letting him just go for it anyway. Once Soto hit that shot, I think Torres had as much chance as any from scoring from second. He got a pretty good read. And I think that affected Torres' mentality because he really wanted to go. But he was given a very clear stop sign, and then Torres had to stop. He had to stop. So I don't necessarily blame Rojas on this occasion, but he's done it in the past where he's been like, yeah, go. Actually, no, stop. Oh, go. No, stop. Yeah. He's done that before. He has done that before. He's not a good third base coach. No. Rojas is absolutely piling up the body count here with people he's stranded at home plate. But on this occasion, it's on Gleyber Torres. Let's be clear about this. This is what I was worried about, because this was basically a playoff style game. This was a playoff style game. There was an intensity to it. It was like I was watching a playoff game. And the Yankees, under Aaron Boone, I'm going to make this clear about Aaron Boone. Under Aaron Boone, the Yankees tend to lose these games. He can't handle these close games and playoff-type atmospheres because going all the way back to spring training, he doesn't preach the fundamentals. And so the fundamentals are already all over the place. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was just wrong yesterday. And that's what frightens me going into October, where the Yankees actually have, for me, as good a roster as any in the American League, possibly the best roster in the American League. They should be able to make it to a World Series, but they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot, and they've been doing it all year long. They have. And Gleyber Torres is front and center of it. And Aaron Boone tends to justify it. So when Boone was asked what his thoughts were when he was told that Torres leads the league in outs at home plate. Do you know what Boone said?
I didn't hear. I after the game, I didn't even want to hear anything. You honestly
Well, this is what he said. Do you have the context on all those outs at home plate? Do you have the context?
an outs and out.
What more context do you need? That's my question, Boone. You're the manager. What more context do you need? What context do you have for those outs at home plate? What context do you need? Because that's the double standards that the Yankees operate under, right? So he's ignoring the stats, right? But let's just have fun with it, right? How about if it was the other way around and Gleyber Torres had the least outs at home plate? What do you think Aaron Boone's answer would have been? Well, this doesn't happen with Gleyber Torres. It was a once off. We're not gonna worry about it. That's what would have happened if it was the other way around and Gleyber had the least, right? So the stats only count when it suits the Yankees' narrative, and that's what really annoys me. And that's what really, really annoys me in this occasion. So it's a double standards. You can't have it both ways, Aaron Boone. You simply cannot have it both ways. The truth is, Gleyber Torres is a terrible base runner. And statistically, he's the worst base runner in baseball. And guess what? The normally political Aaron Judge was very clear about it. He says that can't happen. He said it. Can't happen. We can't keep shooting ourselves in the foot. That's what Aaron Judge said. So why is he more of a manager than our manager? Because Aaron Boone just sat back. He didn't. He should be the first person that's pissed off at this. But he wasn't. That's up to Aaron Judge to hold this thing accountable. And that's what's just really frustrating. The double standards. They only use stats when it actually suits them. And this was the most Yankee game in a while, right? It was like, this was the definition of a Yankee game, right? It really was. We had Alex Verdugo grounding with a double play. Where have we seen that before? We had terrible base running, right? Costing us a game, costing us runs, stranding Aaron Judge on deck. That's what the Yankees have been doing. This is a Yankee game. Aaron Boone managing horribly. That was another Yankee aspect. What was Tim Meza doing and Mark Leiter Jr. doing in a close game, right? So, and Alex Verdugo over Jason Dominguez was another beauty from Aaron Boone. So it was the most Yankee aspect, and of course, front and center of these goof-ups tends to be Gleyber Torres. And I know he's red hot, but let's be honest, he is the king of the goof-ups on the base bats and in general. That's why the Yankees cannot bring him back. Yeah. Even if he bats 400 in the playoffs, he cannot be brought back for this reason. He just doesn't have the IQ. And then he was asked about why this happened, and he said, though, I was just protecting Juan Soto. Juan Soto was safe at second base. So that's a silly excuse. Just say I shouldn't have done it. But to that point, I don't understand quite why Soto ran to second base in that instance as well, for the sheer fact that regardless, Aaron Judge was going to get walked. By him being at second base, that wasn't going to help anything because they would have just intentionally walked Aaron Judge. So it was kind of pointless, him taking that extra base. And then obviously Gleyber tried to play smart and play cute and got himself chucked out. There was no reason to do it. It was just a mess all the way around. Just lack of fundamentals, not a smart baseball team. And to stop Juan Soto's clutch moment and to cut off Aaron Judge before he can have a chance to bring in runners home is a criminal offense. It really is. And that's what the Yankees tend to do in playoff situations under Aaron Boone. And it's been like that since 2018. And there's not anyone that can come at me with anything other than that. That's the facts. That is absolutely the facts. The Yankees under Aaron Boone in the playoffs are not a smart baseball team.
No, and that's what makes it frustrating. But before I get to another point on this issue, I do want to say good morning to everybody in the family in the chat. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you are watching and you want to join the chat. Well, we have Jacob Pedruzzi with us this morning. We got John the Beagle Dad, Jared. We got NFV from the Strike Zone. And if you are not subscribed to NFV on the Strike Zone, make sure you go do so. He's putting a great channel together. He just reached over 1,000 subs. We're so happy for him. We have Mr. Barrows as always as well. We got Spencer in the chat. We got Ken, who does a great job with NFE on the play-by-play. They put a lot of good together. And then we also have John Seco in the chat. And if I am missing anybody, we got Frank Rivera, Raziel the Great, can't forget him. I just want to say Egyptian Magician. Just want to say good morning to the family. We also got Medina in the building as well.
Hit the sub button, people. Hit the like button for us. If you're enjoying the show and the conversation, hit the subscribe bell and the like button for us. So everybody in the chat right now, you go and do that for us right now. Hit that like button.
We are climbing to 800 subs, and as everybody in the chat can tell you, you will not regret the decision. It is free of charge. That makes it even better. So it's Jared put in the chat how it left Aaron Judge without a chance to swing the bat, right? And I think that's the other thing that's that makes it more frustrating is it's not only are you not reading the play right, it was a total lack of attention to the guys that were still coming to bat, taking the bat out of their hands. So even if they walked Judge, you still had Soto, you still had Stanton. So there are guys that can come up with the big hit ready to go. That should have been a station-to-station play. I'm sorry. That I agree with. But when NFE and Ken, I think Nosebleed was hanging out with them as well on the play-by-play. And when right before the game started, I said, as long as Verdugo doesn't cost them the game, I want to segue into this whole decision with Verdugo over Dominguez, because it was a stupid decision. Stupid decision. Right? And while I understand you don't want to put too much ice on Verdugo, he has been such a non-factor that I'm okay with him sitting with the ice. They see it differently. I understand their mindset. It's common in baseball, but that can't happen. You cannot call up this guy where if we had him healthy, Verdugo's not even on the team. I brought that point up a couple weeks ago with the September call-ups. Another double play. I'm like, I said it in the chat. You can check the log. You can fact check me. You'll find the truth. I said as long as Verdugo doesn't cost us the game, nobody's gonna. It's not going to be an issue. But here we are in a clutch situation in the fifth inning. What does he do? Rally ending double play. Rally ending. Because we made him throw a lot of pitches. Kramer was getting gassed. He threw over 20 pitches that inning. You had him on the ropes. And, of course, it's up to, Verdugo comes to the plate, and I'm like, we're fucked. We're fucked. That's it.
You're fucked.
Really. I was like, well, there goes the inning. Once it came to him. So I can't with this guy. Jared, the double plays do kill the team. And it's usually, I would say, over the last month, maybe month plus, Verdugo's, as mad as we talk about Gleyber on the bases, if you have a runner at first and second, and Verdugo's up, that's 2 outs right there. I have no confidence in this guy. I don't even think he has confidence in himself anymore, Donald.
you know what's the worst aspect about this? It's about prioritizing Alex Verdugo's feelings rather than the best interests of our ball club. And that is completely unacceptable going into October. In fact, going into any point of the season, it's completely unacceptable. Why are they prioritizing Alex Verdugo's feelings? It's completely insane. This guy is not going to be a Yankee next year unless, of course, Brian Cashman has a hand in it, tries his way to bring him back. But he's not going to be here next year. But Dominguez is gonna be the future. And the Yankees are sitting Dominguez. They've sat him 4 times since being called up on September 9th. He's been sat 4 times already. We're only 2 weeks into his major league career, essentially, and he's been benched 4 times. And what was the narrative before they called him up? Aaron Boone, once again, my favorite man, what did he say? He said, "Oh, we don't want to call him up until we can promise that we can play him every day." Well, he's up, isn't he? And he's not playing. So this is the insanity. This is the insanity.
Nurse to scratch tonight, right elbow MRI. Oh shit. This is not the time where I don't care who the pitcher is. That's not good.
Well, we'll break that down in a minute, but let's get back to Alex Verdugo. I mean, and then, do you know another aspect to it that is really frustrating? The propaganda machine on the Yes Network. How about Michael Kay, who I have a lot of respect for? He said Dominguez had a rough road trip, as if to justify that. I'm telling you, man, there's something not right. That is something not right about this. Why are they trying to shit on their new star prospect, who actually had a very good road trip, in order to boost up their moronic decision to continue to play Alex Verdugo? Alex Verdugo, has done nothing in 3 months. He's not done anything since the middle of May. What are we doing here? His defense is okay, but it's not like his defense is freaking incredible. His defense has actually been on a tailspin since, I would say, the All-Star break. It's been going down. His defense has been trending down. I can name a bunch of plays that has been misplayed by Alex Verdugo. But the Yankees ignore that. But they focus on Dominguez. 2 misplays. But ignore his multiple home runs and doubles in the gap and all the stuff that he did against the A's. Oh, no. Because we need to paint the narrative that Dominguez is struggling in order to boost up someone who has no future here. What is going on? The PR machine is insane with this organization. Yeah. And it really is. Pay attention, people. Pay attention, because that is ridiculous. You can't say that he struggled in his road trip. He's a kid. But they'll never say that about Alex Verdugo, who's earned multiple millions throughout his career and is on the downward trajectory of his career. He's done nothing lately. It's really infuriating to hear that. And it's infuriating to see Aaron Boone justify these insane decisions. There was no reason to have Alex Verdugo play yesterday. Fuck his feelings. I don't care about Alex Verdugo's feelings. We're trying to win a division. And we will win the division. We'll probably win it today. But it doesn't make what happened yesterday okay.
Yep. No, and that's also another factor into why it should have just been, all right, it was just a tough loss, but it's a loss. We play another game. You had the chance to clinch the division, just get it over with. But it also could have delayed Baltimore from earning a playoff spot. You steal that game from them yesterday, and if they won, that's what it would have been. We would have stole a game from them as more than us winning the game. You could have put them in a tailspin where now they're in panic mode that they might miss the postseason, and they start playing sloppy because we watched them. They should have had a division by 10 games the way we were playing in August. They were sputtering just as much as we were. And leave it to the Yankees to let them right back. They welcome them into the postseason race. And in the postseason, anything can happen. So that's not a team that you want to just welcome in. We'll hold the door for you. Come on in. We'll have some fun in October. You want to delay them getting into that situation as much as you can. They did not capitalize on that because they had multiple chances. Every time the Yankees would put up a run or they had the Orioles were able to end a threat that the Yankees were putting up on the bases, how did the Orioles respond? But they have four inning leadoff home runs, and that's terrible.
They looked more ready for the game than the Yankees did, and the Yankees are at home in front of a passionate fan base, desperate to watch us clinch a division, and they played like that. Yep. That's what frightens me. That is what frightens me.
I mean,
more people showed up yesterday, and that was Gleyber Torres until he ran himself out of the game, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto.
Yep. And Jacob's saying that Poteet is going to get the opportunity. Well, let's see. Well, I'll pull up the on my phone in a minute. The whole thing with Nestor and the call up and the switcheroo there. But to Donald's point, to everybody else, to the points that I've made in the past, this is Dominguez's time. He's the future. Right. If they think if any fan thinks that this is how they're going to make an excuse to bring Verdugo back next year, I don't see it. I don't see it. And YK wants to keep hyping this dude up. That's another piece of the puzzle that's completely gone. What, he break the record for most ground balls to second base?
Yep.
I mean, the dude, we talk about DJ LeMahieu with his ground outs. Holy shit, Verdugo's got him beat by a landslide. At least DJ has done stuff for us over the years. Verdugo is just a 1-year rental because we weren't sure when Dominguez was coming back, and they just. Now that he's healthy, he's ready to go. He's playing well. You talk about momentum and not wanting to put ice on Verdugo, but at the same time, you're putting ice on Dominguez. Yeah, he had a rough series where with Seattle where he had a couple of blunders on defense. We called him out for it. There's not one player on this roster that's immune to criticism.
Offensively, he was good, though. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be one thing if Verdugo was batting 300 over the last 2 months. He's batting 214. There isn't an argument to be had. Dominguez is a better player now. Stop gaslighting us and telling us we're insane. All because you want to protect feelings and you want to protect your ego because you acquired them. Yep. Another failed acquisition by Brian Cashman, might I add.
Oh, Verdugo?
Yeah.
I would say it was the right move. It was a move that a lot of fans were all in for.
Well, actually, no. The fans were against it. We were okay with it. We wanted it to happen, but the fans
were mixed on it. We'll split the difference on that because some fans were like, "All right,
we were for it.
We were for it." I Rob was the first one to bring him up way before it was even thought of.
Yeah, I mean, I like Verdugo. I liked him as a player.
Yeah, it was
just disappointed that it's turned out this way, but I can't justify
exactly.
I cannot justify what they're doing. I can't justify what he's doing. He's done nothing since May. And I don't have double standards. I'm pretty straight down the line. Perform or we find someone who can perform in your place.
Yeah. Yeah,
And by the
you
way,
wonder
Alex
this
Cora
shit.
had no time for Verdugo. If
No.
Cora is sick of Verdugo, maybe it's an indicator that there's something not right. Because didn't Verdugo admit that he was kind of lollygagging it around lately? So that was a couple of weeks ago. Didn't he say something like, "Oh, that was just a little lazy there, or whatever"? Imagine someone saying that, trying to win a division. Fuck his feelings. What about Dominguez's feelings?
Yep.
That's your future.
It does look like we are going to see Poteet tonight in place for Cortez. So,
Is it going to be Strowman or is it going to be Cortez?
it seems like Poteet is going to be getting the call up. I want to try to pull up the confirmation on that.
Geez.
Not that I don't trust anybody in the chat.
Apologize to the chat. That is a giant dog.
But yeah, this is not good. But I guess I don't see anything. Here we go, Jack Curry. Concerning news for the Yankees is Nestor Cortez. Tonight's schedule started getting an MRI. It doesn't say if there's been a correlating move yet, but it does. Let's say it is Poteet. Right. Unfortunately, right now we have to go on is the probables, right? And so this is a very good point from Mr. Barros, though. As much as I like Poteet, I see the ideal pitcher for tonight's game. We have to win this game for two reasons: the division and the best record. The division is going to happen. We're going to win one game before, and Baltimore's going to lose a game. I think that goes without saying. The division, I think, I'm feeling very confident about that. But the best record, look, that's where the Yankees have to play, keep everything a little closer to the chest and be a little more aggressive. They have to be smart about their lineups, the pitches they bring into the game. I would just give the ball to Stroman.
Oh yeah,
I think he's the bulldog to do it because we have to keep pace with Cleveland for the best record. I think right now we have the American League by 2 games and in MLB by 3 with 5 to play. There's no time to play around with the record. No time. You want that home field. Sorry.
Have you seen how the way the Yankees have played at home, though? I'm almost not worried about their frickin' about the best record. I want to win the division. That's absolutely a fact. You have to win the division. But the Yankees are terrible at home this year. They've lost some incredulously horrible games they've played at home this year. And that's what really is odd. They're actually pretty damn good away. They're good on the road. But at home, they're just terrible. They play like shit. They played like shit yesterday. And that was to try and win the division.
And it was the players that really cost us the game were the 2 players that we've been very critical of. And you kind of expected them to have those moments. You expect Gleyber to have an issue on the base paths. You expect Verdugo to hit into a double play or a ground ball. But yeah, John, it's right in front of us, right? That's the model.
Yeah, right around the corner. But listen, right? How obviously there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to freak out about this Nestor Cortez news. Tats, give me your thoughts.
This point of the year, it leaves you to question if it's a long-term thing, how they restructure the pitching going into the postseason. But there are 3 names that are not Cortez that still give me a lot of confidence going forward because it's not Cole, it's not Rodon, and it's not Heel. I
Facts.
think those are the guys right now in this as the starters that need to be put in bubble wrap for a little while until we get everything in order. So Cortez, he can be a factor, but he also could be a non-factor with the playoff roster. So I'm not panicking. It sucks for Nesta. It does. They have put the Yankees in a situation to reevaluate a couple of things at this point in the season that you don't really want to do to them. I mean, yeah, Joe, we have Schmidt too. I'm not worried about Schmidt. But when you talk about, games 1, 2, and 3, when you have Cole, Rodon, and Heel, I feel confident. I feel as much confident in that as I do any other starting rotation in baseball. So I think that's just the way they're pitching. So that's how I feel about it with the bullpen. As long as Weaver keeps rising to the occasion and keeping Holmes out of the ninth inning, I think that's something else that's got to be really the Yankees have to be serious about and stop talking about these freaking lanes. Boone, wanting to keep Holmes in high leverage situations to keep his mind sharp. His mind's not sharp. It's not.
He's cooked.
Exactly. And Weaver's going to be with us next year. Holmes is not. So,
well, I don't know, man. If the Yankees find a way, because they're obsessed with that dude.
That's true, too. You never know at this fucking club.
They absolutely are. I mean, I saw Aaron Boone's interview with John Boy, and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get him out in the next close game." Aaron Boone can't wait to get Clay Holmes back involved.
And that's
he can't help himself. It's the same thing with. That's why I was laughing about the Alex Verdugo decision yesterday. He can't help himself. He's got to go with his favorites. I mean, and then they try and twist it that it's the Yankee fans' fault. Oh, I know everyone makes it a big deal whenever Clay Holmes gives up a run, but have you seen his stuff? I don't give a fuck about his stuff. He can't get anybody out.
No, this is why there's two versions of Aaron Boone. The ones that actually put trust in his players, and then there's the version where he blindly puts trust in his players. Where you have guys doing the job and guys you hope could do the job.
Yes.
Do not play the latter. If you think they could do something, you hope they could do something, leave them take them out of the equation. Put in the players that you know will do something.
Back to the rotation. The way I view it is the Yankees have 99 problems, but the rotation ain't one. We're actually very lucky that we have 6 great starters that can come in and do a good job. So listen, it's bad news about Nestor Cortez. He's been great. He's had 15 innings pitched and he's only given up 1 run. He's been excellent, and I can't credit him enough because he got a lot of criticism first half of the year. And he's really stuck with it and became a better pitcher. He worked on a bunch of stuff. He worked on his changeup, and his changeup became more effective. His fastball increased velocity as the year went on, and that was more effective. And he moved off of those cutters that were going in on right-handers that were being destroyed, which was happening in the year before. So he's definitely improved on those things. So I really want to give him a lot of credit. He's a tough dude. He's a tough cookie. But let's be honest. I don't know if he would have been in a DS rotation anyway. We've got Garrett Cole, we've got Rodon, we've got Luis Heel. Those are going to be our 3. Then after that, you've got Clark Schmidt, who's not given up any more than 3 earned runs since I can't remember when. He doesn't give up. He's always putting a quality start together. So I put him ahead. And then you've got Marcus Stroman, who, although he is not a good second half pitcher, he is experienced, and he's got a ton of experience in big games. So I think we'll be okay. And we've got a bullpen which can provide quality innings. We do have that. Clay Holmes aside, we do have. But also let's not put it all on him. Mark Leiter's terrible and Mays is terrible. I don't. Again, that's another thing. I don't know why Aaron Boone has to keep kind of going to these dudes. Like Mesa sucks. I know Brian Cashman's in his ears saying play him, play him, play him, but he's ass, right? And Mark Leiter is ass.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The Yankees can't help themselves. If Brian Cashman makes a deal, he has to force that through. Mark Leiter should have been given up on. He should be way at the back of the rotation, back of the bullpen. We shouldn't never see this guy. But because Brian Cashman gave up a premium arm for him, he has to play. Verdugo has to play. Why? Ego. And that's the kind of shit that shouldn't matter at this stage. We're a game away from winning the division. That should be the only priority. So you play your best guys. Dominguez is that guy. You got to play him. Very frustrating narrative. But back to Nestor Cortes. It sucks for him, and it's not good for us. But we can live with it. It's not like a crushing blow. Like we do have enough arms that can cover for him, especially at this stage of the season. I mean, at the moment, things are going to get whittled down to 4 quality starters and a solid bullpen, and we can provide that even without Nestor Cortes.
Yeah, it goes with this comment with LI here. The elbow injury is bad for Cortes. He might have thrown his last pitch as a Yankee, and it's unfortunate because as much as look, and we've gotten on Cortes when he's been down, we've praised him when he's been good. He has been a real, he puts his foot in his mouth a lot, especially of late. He sometimes doesn't know when to, like me, he doesn't know when to shut up. But he's been a good Yankee. And it would be a shame if this is how the tenure comes to a close. Because he's a decent arm, right around that, I wouldn't say he's one of the better arms in the rotation, but he's up there.
Yeah.
And he takes the ball. He's got that little fight in him. He loves interacting with the fans. And so it would be a shame. It really would. What's going on, Damian? Morning. By the way, free agent after 2025. So we still have one more year with him. But depending on the injury, we'll see. But,
I mean, I'm pretty happy with our bullpen.
Yeah.
Aside from Mark Leiter and Tim Mesa, Tim Hill's been great this year, so he's a plus. Luke Weaver now settled into that 9th inning spot, and he's been amazing, like literally amazing. Have you seen his numbers? Incredible. He's been great. Canley's changeup has been really good. He's been playing very, very well. Ian Hamilton gave up the home run yesterday. It's not great, but he's still got good stuff. I think you can make it work. You could certainly make it work. And then you're going to get Poteet back, and then I think there's Beater. I like Beater a lot. He should be getting more of an opportunity. It's okay. It's okay. It's not great. And then you've got Clay Holmes, which is a problem, but it's not the worst bullpen in the world. With rotation, as long as our rotation gives us 6 innings, we can make it work with that bullpen.
I was just gonna. That was the point I was gonna make. Is if the bullpen's able to be consistent with getting into the 6th inning, it does take a lot away from it takes a lot of pressure away from the bullpen. Because you're able to keep guys just a little more fresh. Now the effectiveness of them when they're fresh is a different story. I mean that goes without saying. But the one thing with Mesa is he's one of those, he can still kind of find it a little bit. They were making a point on the radio broadcast yesterday that his sinker is starting to have a little more life to it.
Yesterday,
there's that's we could see maybe the next couple of outings he starts to really kind of find himself late in the season to kind of redeem himself through all his issues. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not expecting it, but that would be nice if that happened. But it's the trust is already gone with these guys, and I think that's what it comes down to. the trust in these these bullpen arms, like a Holmes, Leiter, Mesa, there's no trust to even rebuild because maybe Holmes, but we've seen this movie before. As somebody used that reference earlier in the chat, we already know what's going to happen. So I think you keep it with Canely, Hamilton, and Weaver. Those are your three key guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, Mesa. So you're saying the radio broadcasts were trying to puff up Mesa a little bit?
Well, welcome back, John Sterling, for the final home season, for the final homestand, because he hasn't had a chance to kind of put his, he was kind of throwing when he heard about the news. He's like, it's amazing, a bullpen arm, they get released today, somebody's going to grab him tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Marinacio's even already, that poor guy, he got pulled by the White Sox. And you talk about really getting kicked in the nuts when you're down. But it's like, Mesa was, used to be one of those guys where you didn't want to see him come out of the bullpen. And he was holding hope that the Yankees could find that fire in him. Was how he was kind of really hyping it up. Not that he has the best stuff, but he can be effective when he gets into when he finds his comfort zone.
Well, no, because the 5th of September, he gave up 3 earned runs in the third of an inning, and then the very next outing against the Royals, he gave up an earned run. So he's given up 5 earned runs over his last 9 innings, and he's given up 11 hits. So at the end of the day, he's not even pitched well over this little stretch either. Yeah. He's been better than he was when he was with the Blue Jays this year. Blue Jays was a disgrace. He had an 8 ERA, but his ERA is still 4.24 with a whip of 120. So he's still almost putting about 2 people on base every single time he's out there. He's not been good. So I don't know what they're seeing there with him. And then Mark Leiter has been such a mess, man. It's been one of the worst acquisitions that Brian Cashman's made.
It's the bullpen. Yeah, the bullpen that's a question mark, and in years past that wasn't. The bullpen was really never much of a question mark for us. And I said it earlier in the year around the trade. Actually, it was probably around the trade deadline. I think the bullpen luck for the Yankees of finding these guys, these diamonds in the rough over and over again, I think the luck ran out.
Oh, yeah.
Because the guys that they picked last year and this year have not really panned out.
Mark Leiter's numbers for the Yankees are terrible. It's actually been the worst of his career, apart from 2018. It's the worst of his career. His ERA is 5.50, 5.49, sorry, with a 3.06 batting average against. A 300 batting average against. And he's given up a ton of hits.
Yeah, there's no trust in this guy.
No. He gives up a ton of hits, 26 hits in just 19 games. And 300 batting average against, a whip of almost 2, and 12 earned runs in just 19 innings. Horrible, literally horrible.
You cannot lean on guys with those numbers late in the game. That's the bottom line. That's why I'd rather have, my 7, 8, 9, is freaking Hamilton, Canely, and Weaver. That's it. Those are the 3 guys I have the most trust in right now. And it's, you want to put Stroman in there, out of the pen.
Exactly. There are options. I'm not overly worried about the Nestor news. It sucks for him.
But I think we're putting too much worry into something that's really not an issue.
It is a little bit of an issue, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
Not much of an issue. Not that
as long as Garrett Cole and Rodon and Luis Gil pitch well and Clark Schmidt provides quality innings in October, then we're still built for the long haul. We're still built for a good stretch. But I agree with you, Tats. I would wrap these guys in cotton wool. I mean, once we clinch this division, which we will, either today or tomorrow, probably today, then we should be focusing on wrapping guys up in cotton wool because we can't afford any more than Nestor Cortez going down. Then we have a problem. So that should be our focus right now. But these complaints that I have in this podcast are all about the misinformation from the Yankees, and they just can't seem to help themselves. And that's my big takeaway from yesterday. It's not a big deal if you take a step back. It's not a big deal in terms of the standings or the division. We're going to win the division, but in playoff type atmospheres, the Yankees tend to shoot themselves in the foot. They've done it all year. They've been doing it since 2018. And that's what I'm worried about because I really feel that yesterday was a microcosm of the problems that's going to come up again in October when we're playing tight games, when we're trying to stretch to take an extra base and all that stuff. We're getting ourselves thrown out. Poor fundamentals. And also a manager who can't help himself but play his favorites and defend the indefensible. And that stuff really worries me when we come to October, when it's all about leadership and playing your ass off and smart fundamental baseball. And that's not something that Aaron Boone's teams have ever looked very good at since 2018.
What's going on, Ronnie? Thanks for coming to hang out for a little bit. We also, you even got Sierra.
Oh, no, we heard it. Absolutely.
All right, we can't put the entire game on Gleyber. His base running was bad, yes. However, let's not forget his offense kept us in the game. We were flat, and our bullpen was bad. You know what? That's probably that's pretty much sums it up because he had what do you have a 3-hit game yesterday?
Oh, he was great.
He's kind of the catapult to a lot of the successes of the team. But yeah, what we were saying earlier, it's almost like every time he has a base running error, it's always, we're not surprised anymore. And whether he has to read the room a lot better also. To recap that part of this show, it's you want him to be able to hold himself accountable and be more aware of his surroundings. All right.
Smart baseball IQ.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he
leads
the league in outs.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So there's only so much you can defend the guy.
Like if this was a rarity, you shake it off. You're like, all right, he just had a rough, you got a rough read of the play. But this has been a recurring issue.
That's Aaron Judge on deck is the biggest mistake, and that's an unforgivable mistake. You cannot do that. If you do that in October, you're cut.
He's tied with Yandy Diaz. It's me and Verdugo's the other issue, and we went over that. So there was so many things that went wrong. The pitching, giving up 4 inning leadoff home runs, that's unacceptable. So it was just a very ugly game yesterday for the Yankees. But they have a chance tonight to just kind of erase all of that, get this division out of the way. And then you can start realigning who you want to give that another day off for. Gleyber's baseball IQ is the same as Forrest Gump. Yeah, run, Forrest. Get us a stop. But it's going to be, I think I'm with Donald. I think tonight we wrap this thing up. The division is ours. And we'll be able to come back on Friday, do some awards as the AL East Division champions, and start figuring out how we're going to align everything for the postseason. Because this is going to be the way to do it. is I want this over with. Because I'm going to be at the game on Sunday, and for the final home game. I just want to enjoy baseball. I don't want to have to stress about the division. I don't want to have to stress about the best record. Just wrap everything up over the next couple of games before then. I don't ask for much. So, Donald, any final thoughts before we sign off?
I just want the Yankees to play their best players and put them in the best position to succeed. Is that too much to ask? And apparently that is too much to ask. It really is, because it was almost worse, the fact that Verdugo played over Dominguez. Why is Dominguez sitting 4 times since being called up 2 weeks ago? That's what really pisses me off. And the misinformation saying that he had a bad road trip in order to justify their decisions to boost up Verdugo, who has no future here. So they piss on someone who has a big future here. I mean, I don't understand why the Yankees behave like this. And they've done this not just with Dominguez. They've done this with a bunch of prospects. I mean, we got the same shit about Peraza, and Dominguez is a much better prospect than Peraza. But they've done this with a bunch of prospects. But they've never done this with Volpe. And Dominguez is a better prospect than Volpe. He's going to have a better career as a Yankee than Volpe. I guarantee it.
I agree with
player. He's a much better player. Much better player, no doubt. But the Yankees fall over themselves to defend Volpe, but they at times piss on Dominguez in order to boost up someone who has no future, which is Verdugo. That makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. And Li says, yeah, Ben Rice, they did it with him too. Ben Rice is mashing in AAA, by the way.
Yeah,
So it's like they just play their favorites. So it's all about the propaganda machine. And it sounds conspiratorial and all that shit, but it really is. If you read between the lines, the Yankees love to do this, and they gaslight us. They gaslight us that what we're seeing isn't the reality. So when, as I mentioned earlier at the start of the podcast, when Aaron Boone was asked about Gleyber Torres leading the league and out at home plate, Aaron Boone asked for context. I mean, if that isn't just blatant not taking any responsibility, I don't know what is. That is blatant. I don't want to take any responsibility. And once again, it was up to Aaron Judge to show that responsibility. That can't happen. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. I'd love to hear that from Aaron Judge. To be honest, I think Aaron Judge was pissed. He's pissed at being left on deck. That kind of shit cannot happen when you're in October. And I keep harping on it, not because it's a big deal for the short term. It isn't. It's not a big deal. It's not going to cost us the division. It's not going to cost us anything. But it's these things that have been happening all year long, which is going to stop us in October. And that's what I'm worried about. That's what has to stop. And at the moment, I'm not seeing any signs that it will stop. And that's why I'm worried, and that's why I'm pissed off today. And that's why I have to make it clear that there has to be some standards here. That shit cannot happen. The Yankee locker room, when we were growing up, Tats, when you were growing up in the 30s, and I was growing up in the 90s, they policed themselves. The locker room policed themselves. You had Jorge Posada, you had Derek Jeter, you had Tino Martinez, you had Paul O'Neill, you had Roger Clemens, you had Andy Pettitte. They policed the locker room. So crazy shit like that doesn't happen, because it's going to get stamped out. And they respected Joe Torre in terms of, like, he was kind of like a fatherly role, where they didn't want to piss him off because they respected him too much to piss him off. And they also saw a side of him when they did piss him off that they don't want to see. But they don't have that fear with Aaron Boone, because Aaron Boone's one of the guys. Oh, it's fine. It's all fine. And that's the kind of mentality you can't have in October. And that's why our record is terrible in October. So, my final thoughts are, play your best guys, Dominguez, and put them in the best position to succeed. Don't play Clay Holmes. Don't play Mark Leiter. Don't play Tim Mesa. And then maybe we might go to a World Series. Until then, it's up to us and NYYU and dudes like that to call shit for shit. And yesterday was shit. Thank you.
All right. And that is going to be the closing statement of the show. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day. We appreciate everybody in the family hanging out with us this morning. And if you haven't already, I know you guys have. You've already hit that like button, right? You've hit that sub button. Share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. As I always like to say, with those pinstripes of pride, and play hard.